So there's this term where it's altruistic, where you're pretty much being selfless. You're giving everything that you want to everyone, and someone says that you can't do that. There is no such thing. It's pretty much a fallacy upon itself, to where they said that it's you can't do that because you're always doing something for yourself. You're always doing something because you want to do it. And yet, to me, that's what free will is. That is essentially exactly what free will is. You know, you could say that there's God and that people do things for God and because God has said it. To me, in a sense, it's kind of like a goal. God is kind of like a goal, to where when you are actually acknowledging and being what you are, not what somebody has told you. See, that's the difference. If you're always just being what somebody else has told you and you never took in the time or the means to being what you want to be, then you're not being true to yourself. You're not being in your natural place in life. And so it doesn't really it's not really about this God saying it and then it's happening. It's about everybody wanting to work together within their true natural state of being. And potentially there is such a state of highness to where there are beings up there that are being there, having this innate ability to say how things from God are working with that goal and embodying that and living that and being that, to the degree of that there is this potentiality of God and what God can be, and because of what God has said, there is the altruistic means of living as if there is some kind of God out there that is more powerful than you. And yet, to me, all that symbolizes, all of that brings together disempowerment of what you are on your being. It's not about disempowering God. It's about, and those means and that what that understanding can be. It's about how you empower yourself. It's how about you enjoy yourself. It's about you are existing now. You're being what you are. By accepting that, by loving that, you can become more because you're happy and you enjoy what you already have. So then you can recognize the more space to be able to love something else, because it's about love or hate. You can't do the same at the same. You can't fear and love at the same time. So, I mean, really, it's about how you empower yourself and how you give thanks and gratitude and recognition, in a sense, to loving what you are and being that. It's never really about becoming what it is. It's about being what you are. And if your natural place in life is enjoyment, then you are to be enjoyment. There's no becoming enjoyment when you are just enjoyment. So just by within you doing enjoyable things to you, you are being who you are more and more. And so all that hard work of certain things will become easy, will become essentially as if they were always active, and as such, no matter what it is, no matter what scenario, no matter what theme of an idea or understanding you're playing with, it still comes down to, if you've already done the hard work somewhere else, or in a sense, where already became that, where you already are that, where you already recognize yourself as that. So it's not really about becoming something. It's about recognizing yourself already as that. So then that in of that self, you can open up the space to being able to see that and holding that and letting it be here. Just as the tree grows a fruit or has insects on it or has bark, it's being a tree. You won't have bark unless you're being a tree. You're not being a tree right now. You're potentially being a human. So humans don't, the version of a human that we normally see, in a sense, has skin, has this kind of stuff. So there's other means to life, and yet it really comes down to being that means in life and being what you want in life, because it's about being it, not about becoming it. It's not about any of other stuff. It's about being it. And so when you are being, then you are having to accept what you already are, because it's not a reality about death or life, living or dying, and it's all, in a sense, simultaneously about the experience of what you can do because you are being. So then in itself, it's about then being what you want to experience, and then being the place for that experience to happen. Because if there's not a place for it to happen, then it's going to happen simultaneously everywhere at the same time, because that's the place that it's at. That's where it's at. It's everywhere. So it's like the same thing for your life. Where you are is where your life is happening. You know, it's not about the good or the bad, because there's no good or bad. There's no good or bad. That's all about your perception on how you look at it. Which way are you going from? Because each and all, you know, have a means to itself. So, by you choosing to empower yourself, regardless if that's, I'm going to do what God's will is, through that of, I'm going to do my will, upon that of finding this enjoyment in this life. Now, you did empower God, and you accept, in a sense, that God exists, and you're recognizing that, and all that kind of stuff, and you're interacting with that, and you're embodying that, and stuff like that. Yet, it still comes down to you are empowering you. Sure, it might be an overall goal of God, or God's will, and stuff like that, to have everything enjoy life. Yet, if you don't want to enjoy life, and you don't want to be that in life, and you want to be doing something else in life, that's the difference. That's potentially what free will is. And yet, essentially, it's, what are you being in life? And is that something you want to be? Or is that something you can see through this means of experience of who you want to be? And it might be hard work, and it might be the most challenging thing in the world for you. And yet, by choosing to be, by recognizing you have this power to choose who you want to be, you can be anything. And yet you would probably want to be yourself more than anything, because that's your natural place in the life.